It says, John 15 verse 16, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it unto you. So we didn't choose the Lord chose us. So we've got to be all the more grateful that we are of the hopeful elect. But back to the point of the curses, it says, verse 20, verse 21, Deuteronomy 28:21, Yahweh shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, wherever thou goest to possess it. So no matter where we go, we're going to be afflicted.
Yeah.
You know, there's no place where you can say like, okay, I'm going to run to Japan and I'm going to escape the curses of the Most High. Or I'm going to run into, Venezuela and I'll escape the curses of the Most High. No, these curses are going to pursue us everywhere we go until we be consumed, right? That's why we need deliverance, because we're under the curse. Yeah?
Right.
And it says, the Lord shall smite thee with consumption and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And the heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. And I could give a brief testimony to that, because when I was growing up, as I said, I'm a kind of guy who likes to learn things, man. And when I was like, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, even actually right up until 16, 17, I actually felt as if like, actually even going up to 19 until the Most High woke me up, right? I used to actually feel like I was trapped. Like the sky was made of iron and the ground was of brass, and that you couldn't get above it. You know what I mean? You couldn't rise above your station because it just felt like you were trapped, you know? But it was around that time that the internet started to become popular, around say year 2000, 2001. And once that happened, you know, you had access to information. Because prior to that, the only things you could really learn is if you had books in your home,
Yes.
or if you went to the local library.
Yeah.
And even then you're at the mercy, because a local library is not going to stock books on everything. You know what I'm saying? So those are the only real places you could go to kind of get information, other than going into Esau's public fool system.
Right.
And even when you are in the public fool system, they're not teaching you about your history. They might do a little bit on Black History Month, where they show you this picture where you see the slaves on the boat, how they were packed. But they didn't tell you where they came from. They didn't tell you, okay, these people were Israelites and we rounded them up and we brought them over to the Americas and sold them into the Caribbean and this, that and the other. They're not going to tell you that, because Esau doesn't want you to know who you are. And that goes, and also the Most High took his name from off us for a point in time. But now we're coming back to the point in time where, as Ezekiel prophesied in the 37th chapter, I believe, Ezekiel 37, we were those dry bones. And now the Spirit of life entered into us when we heard the words of this prophecy. Now we're standing on our feet as an exceeding great army, and terrible fear is falling upon them that are seeing us standing up in the state that we're in. But let me finish on the curses. It says, verse 24, Deuteronomy 28 and 24, and Yahweh shall make the rain of thy land powder, and dust from heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. See, the Most High weren't playing with us, man. The Most High had great anger for the way that we had profaned his name. You know, and unfortunately, we can't keep the law 100%, but we couldn't keep the contract that was given unto us, so therefore we have to incur the penalties that come with that. You know, like it says in Spider-Man, Uncle Ben, you know, with great power there comes great responsibility. We was given great power and great responsibility, but we wasn't able to fulfill those responsibilities, which is why we have to go through the curses. And then once the Yahushua comes back and delivers us from these curses, and the new covenant is established, we're going to be on perfect terms with the Most High. We're never going to sin again, so therefore we're never going to get the curses again. But let's keep going. So it says, verse 25, and Yahweh shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. See, so our people was conquered, and we were sold into all the nations of the earth, which is a part of the reason why you're going to get Israelites looking like every person. You know, you're going to get Israelites that might look like an Elamite. You're going to get Israelites that might look like a Moabite, like the girl I just mentioned previously in my testimony. You might get Israelites that even look like Edomites, you know. But you try the Spirit by the Spirit, you know, and you'll be able to see. Once you're rooted in this truth, you can start to perceive, okay, this person's an Ishmaelite.
Right.
Okay, this person's a Cushite. Like, I'm sitting on the train.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'm sitting on the train riding here, and I'm just looking at people thinking, okay, what nation is that person? Oh, that's an Edomite. How can you tell? Usually they're just grimy and dirty and just reprobate. Like, brief testimony again. I was traveling on the train to come here. Was it last week or the week before? And I'm sitting down, and this family of Edomites gets on the train, and this little kid comes and it sits right next to me. And the thing about Edomite children is that they look like they never bath, man. They look like they never bathe. Like, they've got all like their hair's all dirty, their skin's all dirty, their nails are dirty, and they've got like bits of food on their you know, like if a child eats a chocolate yogurt or something and it spills on the shirt, they don't take the shirt off and wash it. They just leave the child in it, man.
Yeah.
So the child come up and sit next to me. I'm thinking, man, this child's got a filthy spirit on it, man.
Yeah.
And you can sense the spirit. It's a spiritual thing, man.
Can I add to that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, because it's really mostly spiritual with Esau. What I feel like a certain decorum, even though Jake's a wild flipping, you know, Jake's wild, but like when they're with their parents, if there's a certain amount of order, you know, decorum among them, they're just coordinated, a little bit more coordinated.
Yeah, their families aren't as in
That
disarray as ours are.
Yeah,
for the most part.
I would just say a little bit more through the spirit, and I sense a foulness, a foulness
Yeah.
from the spirit. It's usually mostly from the spirit.
But
Obviously the spirit affects the flesh too, doesn't it?
It does. Well, because the spirit precedes everything. You know, before you take a physical action, it takes place in your mind first. You know what I'm saying? Furthermore, it says, how can a man then know his own way? The Most High directed your steps. So we're already on pre-program mode anyway. But with these Edomites, Psalms 58 verse 3 says that the wicked are estranged from the womb.
Wow.
They go astray as soon as they be born speaking lies. So again, when you're in tune with the spirit, you can see what spirit other people are coming with, man.
Right.
But back to the curses, because I want to finish this off, then I'll move on to something else. It says, and thy carcass shall be meat unto the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray thee away. You know, they used to hang Jake on the trees in America, didn't they?
Yep.
They used to call it lynching. They still do it unto this day. But, you know, when you hang someone on a tree, you're not supposed to be leaving them up there. And the scriptures also say, cursed is he that hangeth on the tree. Going deeper into that, because that ties back to Yahushua. Yahushua became a curse when he was crucified. You know, his blood, when it was shed on the cross, like I'm kind of going into a different topic, but Yahushua became a curse. If you're not covered by the blood of Yahushua, then you're going to have to, your blood's going to have to be shed. But it's a deep thing going on to that. I want to stay on the curses mainly. So, reading on, it says, and the Lord shall smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou cannot be healed. And Yahweh shall smite thee with madness, and blindness, and astonishment of heart. Now that's something that I've personally experienced. I mean, both of those things. You know, the itch, you know, suffering from eczema, or some people call it eczema. Thankfully, you know, I don't have it as bad as some brothers do, but I still suffer with that. And also with madness, you know, I've got my own testimony going into that, you know. But again, it all goes back to the curses. So it says, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy way, and thou shalt only be oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Again, there ain't no man that's going to be able to come up and save our nation, man. For example, I was talking to the brother just before we started about the so-called leader of our so-called black community, Reverend Jesse Jackass, you know, Jesse Jackson. He ain't going to be able to save us. Ain't none of these people like that. Ain't going to be no Martin Lucifer Coon going to save us. No Malcolm X is going to save us. No Louis Farrakhan is going to save us. All these people are men. And the Lord had it to where ain't no man's going to be able to deliver us from these curses. But what does it say? Let me get Revelation chapter 1 and verse 7. Because all these things go precept upon precept, and you get the understanding. If I read Revelation 1 and 7, it says, "Behold, he cometh with clouds." No, hang on. Take vengeance. No, hang on, that's not the one I want. Slucky, bear me a second. Right, it's Isaiah. The one I want is Isaiah 47 verse 3. Thy nakedness shall be seen, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So that's Yahushua. He's not going to meet us as a man. Now I want to get Revelation 1 and 7, which says, "Behold, he cometh with clouds," meaning chariots, because the clouds in the scripture are often referring to chariots, which is what the world ignorantly calls UFOs. It says, "Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all the kings of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, Amen." It says, "I am the Alpha and the Omega," meaning it is the first and the last, "the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, Yahushua, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty." So my point is that it says no man will redeem us. Well, Yahushua is not going to meet us as a man. He's coming back in his glory as the second most powerful being in all of creation. Only being that's more powerful than Yahushua is Yahweh himself, right? So back up to the curses, and it says, "Yeah, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her." Now that's a curse, man. How many of us can actually say, if we have got a woman, that she's the first, we're the first man that she's ever dealt with? Not many of us can say that, unfortunately, because we are living in a sinful and an adulterous generation. And you know, if you do have a woman, chances are she's not going to stay with you. You know, like for example, if you're in this truth, most of these women are about the world, man. Like on a Saturday, which is what we're out here now on a Saturday, if you've got a woman, she's gonna want you spending time with her on a Saturday. You know, "Oh, I've got to go to camp. Oh, why do you always have to do that? Don't you care about me? Blah 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 blah." You know, she's gonna try and put herself in a position to where you're worshipping your woman more than you're worshipping the Most High, and that's a very slippery slope, man. That's a very, very slippery slope. I've always observed these things because I've always been a bit like, I like to watch things and just meditate and understand things. Or something I always thought to myself that was odd was the idea that a man has to get down on his knee to propose to a woman. I mean, even before the term simp was introduced to the world, I thought that's just off, man. Like, why are you going down on one knee begging a woman for her hand in marriage? That don't make no sense, man. And if you're an Israelite, man, you shouldn't be doing that, because you're not supposed to bow down before any idols. Now, a lot of men make their women their idol. You know what I'm saying? Like, and another thing is this whole anniversary shit. Like, let's say you're married to a woman. Every year on, say, the 23rd of September, you have to shower your woman with gifts and basically make supplications unto her, as if she's the deity in herself. Like, let's say your wedding anniversary is the 23rd of September. If the 23rd of September comes around and you don't take her out and show her a nice time, you don't buy her gifts and cards and chocolates, she's going to be looking at you like, what the fuck's going on here? And she's not going to want to be around your ass anymore, because the woman wants to be worshipped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So every year it becomes a thing like of yearly sacrifices, because a man might be saving up and he's like, oh, I've got to buy her this and for the wedding anniversary. And then when the day comes around, he goes on to his woman, who is deified as if she's a goddess, and he's showering her these gifts and basically begging, oh, please, baby, stay with me one more year. Just stay with me. He's not really saying it outwardly, but in his heart, that's what his whole imagination is about.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up, man. You shouldn't be in that spirit. But we live in a matriarchal society. Go ahead.
All right, I got one. Sirach, Ecclesiastes 7:26 says, and I find more bitter than death a woman whose heart is snares and nets,
Yep.
and her hands are bands.
Yep.
Who pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her.
That's right.
I got a lot of examples, but I'm just going to say one because when you've been in the Christian church and you when people they actually get married, the paperwork married,
Yeah.
government married, which I was just thinking about that not too long ago. That is a curse. That is a curse. Just marrying that government paperwork marriage license. That's a curse because you're doing it through. Yeah, you're marrying the government as well.
Yeah.
So right. So I got that out of the way. That's a curse. There's a lot of examples you can talk about that, But just speaking to some women that were married in the church, just speaking to them casually, yeah, a lot of them. One of them said to me, I'll just give one example. She got married. She's been married 2 years. When I saw her walking not too long ago. She said she's been married because really a lot of people get into the Christian church to find a mate. Yeah. It's a dating agency.
Yeah, that's right.
So you find your mate. And this woman, she said she was married 2 years. I remember when she was single for a very long time. Yeah, and she was. What's the word, man? She finally pulled right? She finally pulled. But this is how she treated the guy. She said that me and the guys were always arguing, right? And she said I started cursing him and the idiot. She's telling me like, she's talking to her husband. She's talking to me about her husband like I'm closer to her than her husband, right? And that's how it is with this. Like I said, marriage is a curse, the government marriage. And she's saying the man just did, and I'm cursing him, I'm cussing him out. You see what it is? She started to get frustrated in the marriage. She started to get complacent and take the man for granted. So she said she was just going up into him and he wouldn't do nothing. I was cursing him out. I was doing this. He wouldn't do nothing because really they want a man. You understand what I'm saying? So what she was trying to tempt him to get up and slap her, whatever, or stand his ground. She wasn't doing nothing. So she's out there walking around now like she's fed up with the guy. She married. She pulled after being single, and then after she pulled the fish in.
Yeah.
She wants to throw it back now.
Yeah.
So these marriages are curses. So that precept, the woman is snares and nets. Whosoever escape. I just finish off reading.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm talking from personal experience. That's why I like this precept so much. I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands are bands. Who pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. So we've escaped.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
know?
We have escaped indeed. Because I was just thinking as well, man. So basically, right, the woman expects you to get down on your knees and propose to her. Okay. And bear in mind, that's after she's done played the harlot. You know, for example, a lot of these girls start becoming sexually active as soon as they hit their puberty. Like it or not, man, you got to be in tune with reality. When I was at school, them girls were dealing with 17-year-old, 21-year-old men.
Yeah.
When they were like 14, 15. They weren't looking at us, guys who were the same age as them. They were looking at older men, right? And you have these guys sitting outside the school trying to give you screw face as if you dare to look at their woman, you know? That's how it used to go down.
You know.
So that's one thing. So these women have done played the harlot.
Yeah.
Right? They've done slept with multiple men. And this is how stupid this is, right? Let's say they get to age 26 and they're like, oh, well, I'm getting a bit bored now. I want to settle down a bit. And 26 is being generous because a lot of these women, they go right up into their 30s till around 35. Let's use 35, right? So the woman's 35. She's done slept with probably over 20 men in her life, right? You come on the scene and now she's in the mood. Well, you know what? I just want to find a man to settle down with now. She gets with your ass, right? Then, after all that wickedness she's done, she expects you to get down on your knees to propose to her.
Yeah.
But she's done played the harlot, man. She ain't no fucking prize
Queen.
catch. Yeah, she's no prize catch, but yet she still expects you to do that. And if you don't do that, you see how fast she turns around and finds another simp who will do that. Because that's the thing, these women know I can get another man like that.
Yep.
Even these women that are busted and ugly, right? Back in the day, like I had to learn the hard way, right? Back in the day, when I was really, really young, I used to think to myself, you know what, man? I just want an average girl. Well, actually, I never wanted an average girl. I always wanted good-looking girls because that's just what I go for personally, right? But I thought, okay, there's someone who's slightly lower than my expectations. I thought, you know what, let me try and deal with her. Maybe she'll be cool. But what I learned is the busted and ugly women right? Both spiritually and both physically and inwardly. Let's say that, right? If a woman is average, right? Let's say a 5, she's the same demon that a 10 would be. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
for me, it just made sense. You know, I said to myself, no, man, I ain't dealing with no subpar girl no more. I'm only going for the best, because if I'm going to catch hell from an average girl,
Oh,
let me
God.
catch hell from a girl that I really think is
That you're
hot and
attracted
smoking.
to.
Yes, that's just my mindset. And also, I don't like the mentality of aiming low, man. Nah, it's like, if you aim low, you're always going to get low stuff. Whereas if you aim high, you got a chance to get something, you know, much better. So that's just my personal thing. That's just what I do. So the point I'm making is that, yeah, the woman you get with, when she's about 35, she slept with over 20, 30 men. She's no catch, but yet she expects you to bow down on your knees to her, which is off, because that's idolatry. You're not supposed to bow yourself down. Let me get that in Exodus 20. Yeah, Exodus 20. Yeah, it says, Exodus 20 from verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So did our women do that? Did our women deliver us from Egypt? No. The Most High did. So we are like, we are joined unto the Lord, right? It says, I am Yahweh thy power, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Check this, here's the point, verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. Let me read that again. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. So if you're bowing down your knee to a woman like, oh please baby, marry me, all this kind of stuff, you're committing idolatry, man. You're going off, you're breaking one of the 10 commandments. Now we know there's more than just 10 commandments, but the 10 kind of encapsulates the whole 613 of the laws. So it says, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me. Right? And showing mercy unto the thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. So first and foremost, we are supposed to keep the commandments. Our first love is supposed to be to Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai. To prove that point, read Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13 says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter, fear the Most High, and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Read that again, because a lot of these men out here ain't men, and I'm not saying that to in a malicious way to try and belittle them, but I'm saying it in a way that maybe the people of our nation, because we're only out here for the Israelites, the men of our nation may hear these words and it may trigger something in them to say, hang on a minute. They might think to themselves, hang on a minute, this is right. Because let me put it this way, when I was a young boy and stuff, and I was growing up, I was raised by my mother mostly, like most JK. You know, my parents are separated. But you know, your mother's telling you stuff like, oh, you know, things my mother would say is, if you want to have a woman, you need to be able to provide for her, you need to be able to do this, you need to be able to do that. It's no good to just, you know, walk up to a woman, you've got nothing to offer her, this kind of stuff. You know, you need to get a good job, you know, you need to, you know, take care of yourself, you know. Like if you're going out, oh, you look rough, you know, why don't you trim your beard, why don't you, you know, get a haircut, all this kind of stuff. That's the kind of spirit that the mother will put on the son.
Yep.
So a lot of Jake, like when they become adult age now, they think that being a man is shaving. Like, oh, to be a man, like, you know, you got to have a clean shaven beard and all this kind of rubbish. That's totally off though. That's not the vibration that we're supposed to be under. And as I was saying, that's the vibration that the mother puts on us. For example, let me use this example as well. I was sitting on a train, maybe going home from camp or coming to camp, one of them, right? I was sitting there and a Jake family got on, a mother with a son and a daughter. The son must have been about 12, I don't know. But he sat next to me, and again, it's a different spirit when a Jake sits next to you, even if the Jakes in the world, than to when a filthy Edomite sits next to you. So the Jake boy sits next to me. I'm sitting there and I glance at the to the side and I looked at the boy. It looked like he just had a fresh haircut, right? And his hair was all lined up. And I looked at him and I thought, you know what, man? He probably didn't decide to do that himself. It's his mother who took him to the barber and said, okay, you're going to get your hair cut today. And you end up getting trimmed up by the barber and the barber lines up your head. And then the mother pays the barber and you come away. That's how it used to happen when I was young. And it'd be like, oh, now you look nice, now you look fresh, you know, you got a nice little haircut, you know, you look like a nice clean boy. That's the kind of spirit that the mother's putting on their children, you know? And we're not supposed to be rounding the corners of our head, nor marring the corners of our beard. For example, we have to let our beards grow naturally and our hairline grow naturally, right? Because to do those other things is going off. And those are the customs of the Egyptians. And Jake, in this day and age, they're still following after the ways of the heathen. You know what I'm saying? We have our laws which we're supposed to adhere to, but the reason why I'm bringing it out is because that comes from the mother, you know? And when that boy grows up now, he's going to be like in his 20s thinking, okay, this is the way I have to be because, you know, mum gave this her approval, you know? But really the woman's not supposed to be teaching anyway. Go ahead.
Well, I got this one in what you're saying there. 1 Corinthians 11:3 says, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahushua is God. Yeah, jump down from 11 to 8. For a man is not of the woman, but the woman of man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. So yeah, I was brought up by in that household too, where my mum's. They say they're Christians, you understand? But this precept, this scripture, it was never brought out. So we was brought up with under that vibration, that effeminate. It's a very effeminate vibration that they put their sons under. So when you go to school but having said all of that, I used to visit my dad, and my dad was the type of person, a no nonsense type of person. So I got to see, just by observation, that the difference between my mother and they was never going to be able to be together. Because my dad had that kind of he was very, very masculine, very, very dominant, like Judites. Judites are dominant. So in order for them to she would have to apply the scriptures. Whether she's the one going to church, but he's the one in the world, but he's applying the scriptures, and so it was pure hypocrisy. So that's how it is. This is what we're pushing. This is the vibration that in our kingdom, because right now there's a matriarchal vibration that we're coming away from. We're becoming more masculine, and the men, as you say, are very effeminate, and that's why they're under that vibration, and that's why we're seeing, and we're becoming more masculine, and it's very disgusting to see, as you say. It's very horrible to see.
Well, this is Leviticus 19 verse 27. Ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard. For example, I saw a picture this week. I was playing this video game I like to play called Fortnite, and for some reason they were running this theme with Martin Luther King, and they had his face up on the screen, and that guy just looks like a reprobate anyway. I mean, like, you can see the countenance of a man. You know, when you look at a man, if you're spiritual, you can kind of see. And I saw his face, and I saw he's got this little moustache. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, this guy was supposed to be a reverend, right? So why is he not applying the scripture, Leviticus 19:27, which says, ye shall not round the corner of your heads, neither shall thou round the corners of your beard. So here he is, this, like, you know, little thin moustache all chopped up and stuff. And I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, hang on a minute, this guy looks off, man. Now, I can see that because obviously I understand the laws now. But people in the world, they don't know that. So they think, oh, you know, Martin Luther King was for our people. When he wasn't for our people, man. He kept our people in a bondage. He tried to integrate us into the burning house, which is Esau's society. Teaching us to be all, you know, doing all these stupid peaceful protests and shit. Peaceful protests don't change anything. You know, the thing that's going to change our situation is coming back onto the laws, statutes, and commandments, knowing the names of our power, which is Yahweh or Yahushua, and being repentant. That's what's going to change things. Walking around with some stupid sign in your hand, that's not going to change shit, man. And the government knows this, because look at the way that Esau conquered the world. Did he do it through peaceful protesting? No. He did it by the edge of the sword, which is his blessing, but now he's established himself in his seat of authority, he makes it a rule that anybody else who wants to see change, they have to do it through peaceful protesting, because they know that that's not going to change anything. So it's not going to disrupt the status quo. And all you're going to get is these people going out there, waving their signs, acting a fool, and not really changing anything. And it's the same thing with so-called democracy and the voting system, right? You think that, okay, I don't like the way that Labour's moving, man. Tony Blair's kind of off. Let me vote Conservative. Yeah, David Cameron, this is going to be the new man of change. They vote in David Cameron, what happens? Or, oh, let me vote for the Liberal Democrats, and Liberal Democrats will bring in change. They vote for Liberal Democrats, what happened? Oh, now it's all going wrong. We need to get Theresa May out. We need a new Prime Minister. Theresa May's gone. What's happened? Oh, Boris Johnson. Yeah, Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson's in there. What's happened? The same agenda is being brought forth through all of these people, because the whole political system, which goes back to ancient Rome, it's basically all controlled. All you're watching is being a theatre show when you see these politicians go up there and they stand in front of their flipping pulpit and they're banging their fists like, you know, Boris Johnson likes to do. It's all bullshit, man. It's all a show. But yet they've told the people that voting changes things. Right. They've told you, oh, if you don't vote, you don't have a say. That's bullshit, man. Yeah. And when you do say that, oh, how can you say that? How can you say that? Oh, there are people in countries who would die to be able to vote. Well, look, man, I'll say this. We don't need to vote. We're not supposed to be voting anyway. It's against our custom, because we already have a king. We've got, first of all, we've got King David. He is our king, right? And then you've got Yahushua, who's the King of Kings. And then you've got the Most High himself. So we shouldn't be voting for no Sadiq Khan or no Boris Johnson or no Theresa May, because we've already got our king and our setup. But it's just our kingdoms to come. Yahushua said, if this were my kingdom, my servants would fight. So our kingdom is not of this world. We hope for, our whole thing is that we're looking for a world wherein dwelleth righteousness. And we're coming into that time when righteousness is being brought back on the earth, because for the longest time the world has been in darkness, you know. For darkness have covered the world and gross darkness the people. So these people have been living in sin, living in a way which is ultimately, how do you call it, atheistic. You know, people have been living in an atheistic mindset, believing in evolution, believing that, oh, the Most High doesn't exist. Well, guess what? These people are in for a very rude awakening, because the times are coming when the Most High is beginning to manifest himself once again in the earth. And it all started through raising up us prophets to be out here teaching the word, because I've been looking at people walking past, and we're a spectacle to these people. Like, you see some people, they stop and they're like when I was talking about Martin Luther King, there was one Edomite woman who was looking at as if I was saying something blasphemous, because I'm saying that Martin Luther King was not for our people. But it's just the truth, right? Yeah. You got one?
Yeah, I got one. Daniel, well-known one, get the dust off this one. Daniel 7:18 says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever.
Yep.
And ever. Yeah, you use the example, if I can, from a Martin Luther King. I think he was assassinated, was it? 68, right?
The day after he said the speech about the promised land.
Right, and he was about loving your enemies.
Exactly.
Yeah, embrace your enemies, love your enemies, be about the peace. And Malcolm X was by any means necessary. But they both fell under the same category, because really there was non-violent. And also there's an example of John Lewis. I done a video on him when he died. He died last year.
John Lewis, who's that?
He's one of the MPs, the American MPs, right?
Yep.
Right. So anyway,